whole play, but a skeleton of what we've created together. These are my beautiful, fantastic actors and my musicians.
Act 1, Scene 1. The stage is silent, save for the French official's footfalls as he paces around Macandal. Macandal and the French official are downstage center. Macandal is tied to a post while the French official carries a torch and a decree. Toussaint and Suzanne are asleep upstage in their cabin. Toussaint is having a nightmare. Macandal addresses the audience.
You call me the Black Messiah. Given my actions, I don't think that is the best way to describe me. But God sent me to free us. And though I will die today, the mission of God will live on in all of you.
Macandal is set ablaze. He shouts beyond the flames.
This land will soon be ours to rule. It is now time to take it.
Macandal burns for a while before blackout. The fire from Macandal's death is transferred to the fireplace in Toussaint's cabin. Lights up on Toussaint, who is having a nightmare. The cabin is dank and bare, with 3 straw mattresses on one side of the small space and a wooden rocking chair beside them, and 2 wooden chairs set in front of a small fireplace on the opposite side of the room. Pierre enters urgently and wakes Toussaint. Suzanne rouses subsequently.
Toussaint, wake up.
What's going on? I didn't hear the cock. It's still dark.
Shh. Stand over there and be quiet.
Pierre goes to the cabin door and gestures for his guests to come in. Cecile and Lionel enter and take seats. Pierre puts on a kettle on the fire as they warm themselves by the flames. The conversation is dark and somber.
They won't be satisfied until they killed us all.
Nonsense. They'll have no one to do the work.
No, they'll just kill those of us who have eyes wide open.
More likely those of us whose mouths won't close.
Either way, they're killing us.
Do not be fooled by the weakness of earthly manifestations. Macandal's corpse is interred, but his spirit rose from the flames as a winged beast and flew to safety.
His work is finished.
How can his work be finished when our condition remains as such? His work was not finished. He was just getting started, and they made sure that this was as far as he could go.
He did as much as he could, and he sacrificed just as much.
No, it's not enough.
The man died for this cause. What more can you ask?
He promised us freedom. Now he's dead, and what are we left with? Rebels without guidance? Angry Frenchmen who are ready to burn us all alive? And all the eyes in every white head watching our every move.
Too soon has Macandal departed, but his time here was served well. Do not take for granted the gift he bestowed to us before his passage.
What gift?
He has planted the seed.
Surely something will come of that.
Seeds. I'm supposed to put my faith, the future of my family, into seeds? Unacceptable. 6 years of planning, building up a network of secret organizations of slaves from plantations throughout the North. The countless meetings. We put our lives in danger. This was supposed to be a foolproof plan.
Nothing is foolproof when you're dealing with scared people.
Or tortured people.
What are we to do now?
We must push forward.
How can we? Macandal is dead. Who else can you think of to lead the rebellion? I'll wait.
What other choice do we have? The poison campaign has already been set in motion. If we pull back now, they'll make cruel examples of us to make a point.
What point is that?
That they are superior.
Who is to lead the rebels now? Not me. I'm too old, and so are you.
The answer is in the seeds. Macandal's prophecy is not to be discounted.
There are no seeds, Cecile. The only seeds left are those over there.
Lionel goes over to where Toussaint and Suzanne are silently watching and brings Toussaint, who is terrified, to the front. Suzanne watches.
Toussaint?
These are the seeds we are left with. These, the seeds we struggle for, the seeds we fight for. Weak from starvation and exhausted from work that has too soon become their burden. Are these the seeds of Macandal's prophecy? This fat Rabaton?
Precisely.
Look at him. He's skinny.
Do not be fooled by earthly manifestations. This boy is not as he appears. The blood of a king dwells within him.
Cecile examines Toussaint.
Groom him. Macandal's fiery death was a passing of the torch. It is now his time. He is chosen. Gauginu would be proud of this moment.
Toussaint. He is only a boy. This burden is not yet his to bear.
He is chosen.
By whom?
His lineage,
He's ignorant and naive.
This is not the time to thrust a child into the middle of a war.
His hour will come. He was born for this. And he must be prepared. You will prepare him. Teach him their tongue, their manners.
And what do you propose we do in the meantime?
Give him books.
Slaves everywhere are serving their masters poison in their refreshments. When they realize the conspiracy, they will not take it lightly. They'll really make examples out of us then.
Pierre will groom the boy. We will prepare the rebels for him. Whomever he becomes, they will follow him. Come, boy, tell me your name.
Toussaint goes to Cecile. She takes his hands.
François Dominique Toussaint.
Again, with the pride it carries.
François Dominique Toussaint.
Toussaint, Toussaint. A strong name. No doubt born on All Saints' Day, yes? With all the saints at your back protecting you, you must be a force.
No, not by the meager looks of it.
This world is ill-begotten, boy. You are not meant for life in this world. Change it. Pierre will teach you how. From now on, you will be called Toussaint Louverture.
Louverture.
Yes, boy. This name will serve as the key to the opening of a new world. Girl.
Suzanne goes to Cecile.
Be this boy's companion. It is through you he will find strength. It is through you he will find legacy. Do you understand?
Yes, I think so.
So this is it?
It appears so, Lionel. Cecile has led many successful revolts in the north. She has the sight, and it leads to freedom. You know this.
I know, but this is what 6 years of planning gives us? This Fatrabadon?
Makandal is gone. I understand the loss you feel, brother, and this is a grave regression for our plot, but we do not have time to properly grieve him for the loss of the future he promised us. Any time we spend on that is time wasted. We have to keep going.
Rest assured, Lionel, the future you so desperately long for is well on its way. The fire is low. Time to retire.
Yes. The cock will crow soon and the work awaits. Better get some rest.
Cecile and Lionel exit unceremoniously.
Papa, what's going on?
Makandal is dead.
What?
He's dead. They burned him in the courtyard, and if you don't keep your voice down, we'll do the same to you.
Okay, then what will happen to us now? What's the plan? What's going on?
Something that is greater than any of us, but dependent on all of us, especially Toussaint.
Don't I have a say in all of this?
Do you think we had a say in all of this? Go to sleep and try to digest that your life has changed forever.
Pierre, Suzanne, and Toussaint all climb into their respective straw mats and go to sleep. Blackout. Scene 2. Suzanne is on the cabin porch shucking sugarcane and preparing them for the kitchen. It's hot and humid. Her hands are bloody from the labor and she wipes them on her apron when she must. But she uses them as though they were clean, getting blood on everything she touches. Toussaint enters carrying a new load for Suzanne to prepare. The blood is never mentioned.
Well, if it isn't the golden child.
Here's another load for you.
No. Do they expect me to do all this work before they ring the church bells? What do they need all this cane in the kitchen for anyway?
They're making cane ice cream for dessert tonight.
Never heard of it.
Either.
The French and their recipes. Must be a big night. Are the braiders having guests?
Family from Paris.
Will Bayon be there?
We.
Why don't they just send the cane to the mill instead of having me do all the work a machine can do?
It beats being out in the field harvesting the crop.
How would you know? When was the last time you did some real work around here?
Carrying this heavy load of sugar cane doesn't count as real work.
Work? Well, it has been weeks since you lifted a finger. And you must be out of shape by now and weak. Lifting 5 or 6 canes is probably too heavy for you right now, eh? Frère Spiton? Or maybe you're spending too much time with the Jesuits, praying to their God, and fantasizing about the heaven and hell. Or maybe you've forgotten what work looks like altogether. Will you be joining the braiders and their guests for cane ice cream?
No.
What? You weren't invited? Certainly you should have received an invitation. Isn't that one of the perks of Bayon's little pet?
Bayon's little pet, huh? I can't help it if the man takes to me. No more than I can help how charming I am.
Charming?
You're just jealous.
Jealous of what? Nobody cares if you're Bayon's favorite. Trust me. None of us is aching to get close to him. This is much more bearable work.
You're jealous because you know that being Bayon's favorite means that even though I can't have dessert in the bread and dining room,
it doesn't mean that I can't have any from the kitchen. But there's no need to be jealous. I'll make sure to bring you some too.
You better. And be careful. Remember what happened last
I'll
time.
be careful.
You were caught and came empty-handed.
Suzanne wipes her brow, smearing blood across her forehead.
You spend so much time with them now.
Not really. Just beyond. And only because Pierre insists.
What's it like?
What do you mean?
Being with them. How they are, who they are.
I don't know.
Oh, please.
The brothers live distant lives. The most noteworthy aspect about them is that they had children and died. The youngest of those children, Leon Jr., named after his father, owns this property and all of us. What else? He is a French naval officer and is most known for his involvement in the naval battle in Molay Saint Nicholas against Britain and...
I don't care about that.
Then why are you asking?
What are they like?
Oh,
Well,
it's strange, really.
what?
Well, when they are together, when it's just them, I watch. And they almost appear normal, like you and me. They laugh and joke and are tender with each other, but
what?
when I enter the room, they become different. Their eyes become dark. The joy in their faces shrivel into grimaces. And you can see their horns desperately trying to push through their skulls.
Oh, even Bayon.
He is the same, but is more tolerant. He is white, but he is not a grande blanc. He still thinks he is better than us, but he knows that it's not by much.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means that he is not a brother, just an employee on their payroll. And money is the language of the land, and the brothers have it. A lot of it. Bayon does not. If he lost his position, he would be no better off than the rest of us.
What's it like being you? It must be nice. You get to have ice cream and observe the Grande Blanc and their not so natural habitats and read books, while the rest of us carry your load.
Is that what this is about? You know, I didn't ask for any of this.
I know. But that hasn't stopped you from enjoying the benefits of it.
Benefits? If by benefits you mean enduring the sea of hateful stars on every black face here at Brother, or having Pierre slap me over the head with Plutarch or Machiavelli, or having old women scold me for not doing enough heavy lifting, then I would gladly share those benefits with you.
No, Masu. I'm more interested in the sweet treats part of the deal.
Well, in that case, you can have those too.
You'd give those up for me? Oh, to be in the good graces of the chosen one.
Don't call me that.
Don't call you what? The chosen one?
Yes. Don't call me that.
Why not? It's what the elders are calling you. They keep comparing you to Guy Dugan.
Yes, and it drives me crazy. An old woman says I am chosen. Suddenly life changes.
You don't even know who he is, do you?
Suzanne is met with a blank stare.
He was the king of Alada.
Okay. And?
And he was your grandfather.
Toussaint is dumbstruck.
Yes. Things certainly have changed around here since then. And after Makandal's death, we have slowed down, but not them. They're on the up and up, and they're making us rebuild their plantations as punishment. They say we're only creating more work for ourselves, that we burn the plantations down only to build them back up again. We toil while they flourish. Seems yesterday we were just holding on to a promise. That promise was taken from us. I think you're supposed to take it back. Things certainly have changed around here since then.
But no one says anything. No one speaks of our loss. Instead, they just tell me to read this, read that, practice my French. They even made it so I can become close with Bayon, to observe him. For what? I don't know, but people look at me differently, like they expect something from me. But I don't know what any of that means.
Hopefully it means you were chosen to bring me some of that fancy cane ice cream Bayon is serving today.
I just poured my heart out to you, and that is what you have to say.
Last time you came empty-handed.
Is it all you care about?
Oh, relax, Toussaint. I'm just teasing. I care about things, like getting my work done on time, and some of yours too, so that you have time to read this and read that. I even care about maintaining my fish. Not that I can speak to the bastards, but so you will have someone to practice with. Now, I also care about my dessert, but if you paid more attention, you'd see that I care about you too.
Susanna,
Pierre enters with a small stack of books clasped in one hand, which he smacks Toussaint over the head with.
Boy, I've been looking everywhere for you. I should have known you'd be sniffing around, my girl. Suzanne, take the cane to the kitchen now. Bayon is expecting you. 5-8.
Oui, Papa. Come on, Toussaint.
No, just you.
Why can't he help?
Toussaint has other work. Hurry up or you'll be late for mass.
Papa, I can't possibly carry all of this.
I can help her attend to my chores immediately after.
No, take half. I'll bring the rest behind you.
Suzanne picks up a pail of clean sugarcane and exits.
Toussaint, where have you been?
I've been here.
Which means you aren't where you're supposed to be. Here.
What's this?
The Prince by Machiavelli and the Discourses of Epictetus. This one is especially relevant to you.
Why?
Read and you'll find out.
Where did you get these?
I borrowed them from Bayon's library.
Borrowed.
Yes, read them quickly so I can return them before they're missed.
If you are caught with these, you could lose a hand.
That's why I'm giving them to you. Read them quickly.
Pierre begins to exit, but
I don't understand. What am I supposed to be learning from these books?
A different way.
To what? How? These are just words on pages. There are no actions or examples of what to do or how to do it.
You have to focus so that you may never fail to get what you desire nor fall into what you must avoid.
But how can I, in good conscience, read books while those around me labor and wane?
Study hard, my boy. This tutelage you are receiving is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Sit down.
Toussaint and Pierre sit on the steps.
The sea is restless. A great storm brings tide to wash away this old world and replace it with a new one.
Will you be there?
No, I'm too old. But I'm not dead yet, and will guide you out of this old world into the new. These books will give you all that you need to be prepared. The Jesuits will show you where their faith is anchored. You are able to peer into their world, which will prove to be a gift and a curse. You have much to learn. It will take hard work, which you seem eager for. So grab that loaded cane and take it to the kitchen for me.
Yes, sir.
Hurry. It's almost time for mass. Never mind, I'll do it. Byron will be here soon. Put those books inside and keep them safe. You could lose a hand if you're caught with them.
Toussaint exits into the cabin while Pierre hands a wheelbarrow of cane off to Suzanne. Lights shift into the house. Bayon enters, ringing a cowbell to gather the others.
Recolliere! Recolliere!
Toussaint, Pierre, and Suzanne re-enter. Toussaint and Pierre keep their heads bowed in Bayon's presence. Toussaint's posture also changes and his voice is not certain of itself.
Bien, avons-nous laissé pour la dernière fois, eh?
Silence. Bayon grows impatient and begins unbuckling his belt, no doubt to wield as a disciplinary tool. Pierre intervenes.
We finished the liturgy of the word and had just ended just before the Lord's Prayer and the liturgy of the Eucharist. Ah, oui, et après la prière Euchariste, eh?
The Lord's Prayer.
En français. Bien, bien, on y va? Toussaint, viens. Tenez-vous à côté de moi, vous direz la prière.
Toussaint turns to go to Bayon. Pierre stops him before he gets far. He whispers.
Just like the Jesuits taught you. Nothing more, nothing less.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
In français.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Suzanne begins praying aloud. There is a fire burning within her as the words arrive onto her lips.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Suzanne.
And forgive us our trespasses,
as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Suzanne falls to her knees.
Suzanne.
For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, and yours forever and ever. Amen.
Bayon walks to where Suzanne has fallen. She watches his approach, never bowing his head.
Tu oses me regarder dans les yeux.
Bayon spits at Suzanne. Blackout. Scene 3. Inside their cabin. The fire is lit. Toussaint and Suzanne are preparing for bed while Pierre sits on a rocking chair. He is quizzing Toussaint.
Plantations on the French colonies are regulated by this legislation.
Toussaint thinks for a moment. He looks at Suzanne, and she looks right back at him, waiting. The answer comes to him.
Code Noir.
When?
Wait.
Toussaint.
1685.
What does it state?
A long, awkward pause as Toussaint thinks. Suzanne becomes impatient.
It states that masters may exploit and
And
whip.
whip their slaves, but they may not torture, kill, or rape them.
Glances exchanged.
What else?
By law, masters must feed, clothe, shelter them as well. Good.
Not bad.
What else?
Competition ensues.
All right, the youngest bred a child. He was involved in the Battle of Mont Saint Nicholas.
Easy. Leon Breda Jr.
Toussaint winks at Suzanne. She scoffs at him and gets into her bed.
I would know the answer to that too if I spent as much time sniffing up that ass.
Or if you listen to anything other than the sound of your own voice.
Ask another papa.
I think you've had enough for the night. Time to rest now. The work waits.
Pierre rises from the rocking chair and goes to lay on his mat.
To bed now, boy.
Toussaint pulls a book out from under his pillow and pulls a lantern close. Pierre and Suzanne drift asleep as Toussaint reads silently in his own mat. He reads until he falls asleep. The lantern flickers out. Lights shift. Dambala's Vev appears. A rattle. A dark figure appears in the doorway carrying a small burlap sack filled with snakes. The figure walks to Toussaint, then drops and empties the bag onto him, spreading the snakes across the bed. The figure then sits on the rocking chair. The rattling grows. Toussaint awakes to the snakes in his bed screaming. Pierre and Suzanne are frozen in a state.
Ah!
Do not be afraid.
What?
They are severely misunderstood. Be still, you'll scare them.
Toussaint tries sitting still for a while, but fear gets the best of him and he jumps out of the bed.
Ah,
Who are you?
I told you to be careful.
Who are you?
You know me.
Dambala implants a thought in Toussaint, a rattle.
I do not. Dambala? How did I know that? Did you do that?
Dambala brings his finger up to Toussaint's temple.
I am sovereign of intellect. Prepare a basin of water.
No.
I eat.
Okay.
Toussaint scrambles and bats away, then sneakily tries to alert or wake Pierre and Suzanne.
They can't hear you.
Why not?
To be in the presence of the divine is exclusive.
Pierre? Suzanne!
Hear me, boy. They will not wake. The basin.
Toussaint stumbles past the bed of snakes as he goes to fetch a basin of water.
Misunderstood they are, detested, ill-treated, the most misunderstood of beasts. Dogs and horse have caused more deaths than a bite of a snake. Mosquitoes.
Toussaint returns with a basin of water and sets it down. Dambala begins to wash his face.
Why are you here?
The serpent is a symbol of good fortune.
Hello?
Strength, protection, authority, transformation, rebirth.
What do you want?
You should be so lucky to cross paths with such an auspicious creature.
This is a dream. This is a dream.
This is reality, and the world around you is a reality. I am a reality, and I'm here to impart great words of wisdom.
What? What are they?
Be like the serpent.
What? No. This can't be happening.
Observe its behavior, its cycles, and be inspired.
Maybe if I go back to sleep, all this craziness will be over.
Toussaint shakes the snakes from his bed and lays down, covering his head.
A good start, learning to slow, the ultimate key to your future.
Dambala exits, taking his snakes with him. Lights shift. A cock crows. Pierre and Suzanne wake and start getting ready for the day quietly. Toussaint does not wake.
Toussaint, liver. It's morning.
Pierre takes note of the book and the lantern.
Let him sleep. Wake him before the sun.
Pierre exits. Suzanne violently shakes Toussaint awake.
Ah! The snakes! Snakes! Suzanne, attention! There are snakes everywhere!
What are you talking about? There are no snakes here.
No, look!
Toussaint jumps to his feet and moves Suzanne to safety.
Toussaint, there is nothing there.
Whoa, right there! And there was a man. Dambala.
Dambala? Toussaint, you are dreaming.
It was more like a nightmare. But he insisted I wasn't dreaming.
Who did?
Dambala!
Dambala?
Suzanne spies the book underneath Toussaint's pillow.
Did you fall asleep reading again? You know if you get caught burning a lamp oil after dark, we'll all be punished for it. What are you reading anyway?
Suzanne picks the book up and reads.
Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. This is your problem. No wonder you're having nightmares. The thought of a life without love, even in all of this, hardly seems worthy. But I suppose it's the life we've been given.
Put that down before someone sees it.
Is this how you think?
No, this is how Niccolo Machiavelli thinks.
It soon will be.
What do you mean by that?
You're changing.
No, I am not. I am the same as I always been.
No, you are changing. The changes may be small now, but they are happening. Isn't that the point after all? You're being groomed to fit right into French society. So you can have a different way of life.
You seem resentful.
Wouldn't you be? I'm just as smart as you are, smarter. And my father educates you more than he does me. Says I'm to be your companion. I'm to walk with you, but never be quite in step. I'm to talk with you, except I won't be as well read. You'll likely end up in a fancy city and friends. Well, I'm never to leave this island. Wouldn't that make you resentful?
This again. Suzanne, I didn't get a chance to tell you before, but...
A voice is heard off stage, angrily calling Suzanne's name. She turns sharply and exits toward the call.
Plateau?
Suzanne exits. Toussaint is left standing there in mid-sentence and disbelief. He can hear the disgruntled shoutings of a planter, Suzanne's obedient responses, and the sounds of flesh hitting flesh. No cries, though. Toussaint is alerted by this and makes his way to the door. Lights shift. Aida's Vev appears. Singing is heard. Toussaint turns in the directions of the song. A voice fills the air. A woman dressed in white is suddenly seen sobbing in a corner with her back to Toussaint.
My seeds! My seeds!
No.
Aida weeps inconsolably. Toussaint tries to snap Suzanne out of it, but to no avail. He approaches Aida.
Madame, can I help you? Are you hurt?
Aida turns around. Her hideous appearance causes Toussaint to trip over his feet as he attempts to flee this beautiful but ghoulish figure. Aida's dress is bloody. She is cradling a bundle in her arms, a baby. The baby is also bloody, rattled.
My seeds! They took my seeds! Help me, please!
I'll help you. Do you need a doctor? Is the baby all right?
They took them!
Your seeds?
My seeds!
Who took them?
They took them and buried them in the ground, but they never bloom. They never bloom. Only cane grows in the fields. And the earth, it bleeds the blood of my children.
I'm sorry, madame. I don't understand. Do you need help? I'm going to get you some help.
You will help me.
Okay, I'll be right back.
You will help me. You will save my seeds.
I don't know who took your seeds. I'm not sure I can be much help. What would you have me do?
You will save my seeds. Mountains may crumble along your path, but you will save my seeds.
It seems like a lot of trouble to go through for seeds.
Without them, there is nothing left in this world for us. They are everything. One day you will understand when you have seeds of your own, when they are ripped from your arms. May a stranger grant you grace enough to help you find them.
Aida goes to Suzanne and gently caresses her cheek and kisses her lips. Aida exits weeping. Lights shift. Toussaint stumbles backwards and falls into his seat. He is shaken. He scrambles to his feet and throws up in a nearby basin. Suzanne enters with fresh scars upon her cheek. The incident is not mentioned, but her wounds are attended to. An unspoken understanding.
Did you just see that?
See what?
That one, she just left.
What woman? What are you talking about?
Didn't you see her? She was carrying a baby and her dress was bloody.
Toussaint, there was no bloody woman carrying a child.
No, listen to me. She was just...
Toussaint, you sound like a madman. Pierre was right. I should have let you sleep. You're delirious.
I know what I saw, Suzanne.
You need rest. Go back to bed. I will wake you before sunset.
Suzanne.
Sleep.
Suzanne points to the book and exits. Toussaint studies the book and sits on the edge of his bed, taking in his circumstances. Blackout. Scene 4. Toussaint is sitting on the porch, shucking sugarcane. Pierre enters.
How did you sleep?
I had a nightmare so terrible that even while I awake, it continued to haunt me.
They're just dreams, Toussaint.
I know, but
Aida's voice fills the air.
Toussaint.
shh. Do you hear that?
Hear what?
That. The singing.
Listen to me. There is no singing.
I am being haunted, Pierre. These spirits, they won't let me rest, they won't let me
A
think.
long pause as Pierre studies Toussaint. A realization.
What spirits, boy?
A rattle.
Did they tell you their names?
The first was an elderly man with snakes. He called himself
Dambala. And the other, a woman, no doubt?
Yes, but I do not know her name. I didn't ask for this, Pierre.
Sit down. Look around you. Look at your people. Do you think they asked for this?
You're sending me to war to die. And what will be resolved by my death? Will you have the life you want then?
If your life isn't worth going to war for, then perhaps you are not leading a worthy life.
Toussaint exits, storming off. Blackout. Scene 5. Toussaint is in his cabin, cooking at the fireplace. He paces a while as he waits for his food to cook, and notices a book hanging out from under his pillow. He goes to pick up the book, feels its weight, then throws it into the fire. Suzanne enters running in, not making it far beyond the doorway.
Toussaint, we need help.
What is going on?
The raccoon plantation is burning.
It's the rebels. It's all part of the plan.
This wasn't planned. Plant has set the cabins on fire, not the field. This is the French, not us. They're retaliating. And there are people who need help, children who need help. Hurry up.
I'm coming.
Suzanne exits while Toussaint goes to take the kettle off the fire. He turns to run out the door when a rattle. Aida appears.
You will save my seat.
Suzanne runs back into the cabin.
Toussaint, are you coming or not?
I'm coming. I just...
Toussaint looks back at Aida.
Go.
Toussaint stumbles backwards and exits running. Blackout. Scene 6. It's the morning after the fire. Toussaint, Pierre, and Suzanne stumble inside with special attention being paid to Pierre's burnt hands.
What do you need?
Plantain leaves, calendula flower, and a comfrey in the cupboard.
Suzanne gathers towels to clean and tend to Pierre's hands. No one speaks.
You two are quiet.
There isn't much to say, Papa.
Why not?
Because people died last night. And more will die today. Because your hands. That's why.
I'm fine. Yes, we lost Cecile and Lionel in that fire, but they would say their flames were being passed on to the next torch, which will burn this island to ash. Is that a reason to be silent?
Yes. When will enough be enough for you? Yes, all of those things are reasons to be still, silent, and to reflect on all our loss and our fortune that it was not us.
I would think the contrary. Why, in these times, would you choose to be silent? Why would you choose to silence the only thing that will ever belong to you and no one else? Why choose silence when there are people who have sacrificed their lives so that you can have a voice?
Because nobody is listening. Nobody is listening to us, so why waste our breath?
What happened last night is not our fault. We did what we could to help, really, we did. As for those devils, they have innocent blood on their hands, and they'll have to deal with that. They'll pay for the price of ruthlessness with their own lives.
More of our people dead.
We'll all end up dead if we don't stop this madness, don't you see? If they knew they could talk to us and reason with us as their equals, then I believe things can be different. I will become a proper French gentleman, then they will see.
Now is time to fight, not to reason.
You won't be satisfied until we've all burned like into the courtyard.
I'm not satisfied to find that I've spent countless hours educating and risking my life for a coward.
We can leave this place and not have to worry about laboring for long hours.
Spoken like a true
I
coward.
am not a coward.
Yes, you are. What about everyone you'd be leaving behind? Don't you think they deserve that kind of life too? You'd be abandoning them for a false moment of peace and freedom.
Yes! Yes, I would! Because it is the closest thing to happiness either of us would ever get.
I would never abandon my people.
Then you would die with me.
Enough! Papa, you must rest. And you.
Suzanne lays Pierre down, then pulls Toussaint to the other side of the cabin to have a word alone.
How dare you talk like that to my father? After all he's done for you.
I know. But foolish conversation boils my blood.
My father is a visionary. He's not a fool. Just because you're reading books now doesn't mean I'm still not smarter than you. I can take care of myself, and he can too.
I can take care of both of you, but we have to leave soon.
Toussaint takes Suzanne's hands and pulls her in. She is obviously uncomfortable with the closeness. Beat.
Suzanne, the other day I was trying to tell you something, but I kept getting interrupted. And now I fear I'll never get the chance to say it. I don't want to die before I tell you how much you've meant to me over the years. You and your father took me in and raised me like one of your family, and it's been my only solace. But the way I feel for you is not a sister or a friend.
What are you saying, Toussaint?
I will leave this place someday, Susan. And when I do, I want you to come with me. I love you.
Toussaint, I don't know what to say.
You love me.
Love. Love is not a luxury we can afford.
Then say you'll come with me.
Toussaint, I cannot leave my father here. He said himself that he is too old to make the trip, and he won't survive in the woods. Not with his hands like this. Don't you see, I can't leave with you.
You'd rather stay here. Will you be treated like filth for the rest of your life?
This is the only home I've ever known. These people are my family. I will not desert them.
Am I to go alone then? What is my love for you?
This is not love, Toussaint. This is convenience. Or compliance, circumstance. But it doesn't always have to be. Stay. Fight. This is your home too.
Saint Domingue is home to none of us.
Then let us make it so.
Toussaint and Suzanne gaze into each other's eyes, and just as they are about to kiss, Suzanne immediately breaks away from Toussaint. Suzanne begins cleaning up the supplies from tending to Pierre's hands and adjusts the fire. She notices the book burning and uses the fireplace tongs to remove it. Some of the book, though charred, remains intact. She saves the charred piece of book. Toussaint and Suzanne both go to their respective mats. Before laying down, they look over at one another for a moment.
Home.
Home.
They lay down and go to sleep, turning their backs to one another. A rattle. Dambala appears and sits in a rocking chair. Aida's voice fills the air. Aida appears, tracing her baby's facial features with her finger. Aida places her bloody baby in bed with Suzanne as she weeps. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 1. August, 1773, 15 years later, inside a large cabin furnished with elegant hand-carved wood furniture. A fireplace glows warmly in the dark. A smallish figure scurries across the room and back out, followed by another. Shortly after, coming from the opposite direction, a rattle. Slow, heavy footfalls precede a large, dark figure. The figure is carrying a lantern. He turns it on and is revealed.
All right, you win. Placide, Isaac, come out. You've won.
Papa, you must be getting old. You could barely catch us because you're so slow, or find us because you're so blind.
Who's blind?
Suzanne appears into the room.
Papa's blind because he's so old.
Excuse me. What did you just say, young man?
Placide said it first.
It was only a joke.
We don't joke like that around here. How many times do I have to tell you you must respect your elders? You know better, Placide. Your father doesn't need a reminder of how old he has become. It's a wonder we continue to bring innocent lives into this unkind world.
Because it's a part of life to create life. Are we not alive if life not worth living? Well, what about this house? Do you think we can call this place home?
Yes!
Well, that's good news. I just signed the deed. So, from now on, this house is home.
Suzanne is obviously agitated by this news. She tries to mask her feelings.
All right. Go play in one of the other rooms.
No!
Listen to your mother.
Toussaint and Isaac exit.
Those boys,
They will learn.
they only repeat what they see.
Uh-huh. And what is that supposed to mean?
It means they get their defiance from you.
I would never defy you.
Mm,
Have I ever?
yes.
Toussaint walks Suzanne to a chair, sits her down, and begins massaging her feet.
We've come a long way. Your father prepared us well. We have everything he wanted us to have, and now we can continue that growth.
Don't bring my father into this. How could you sign the deed to this coffee plantation without talking to me first?
This is a man's business, Suzanne. You wouldn't understand.
You forget that I am much smarter than you. Is this really what you want?
Why not? All those years long ago, it was you who told me Breda was your home. You couldn't dream of leaving then. We're not that far. Why the change of heart?
We have grown. Our family has grown. I think with all this new growth, we've outgrown this life.
Suzanne, I don't understand. We have worked hard, just like Pierre taught us, because he wanted us to prepare us for a different way of life. This is it. We've achieved a different way of life. We have our manumissions. I am a free man, you are a free woman. Our children are healthy and educated, and we'll never have to labor for another's profit. This coffee will afford us the financial ability to purchase and own a home on a plot of land just like this.
I don't want...
I will finally have some respect around here. No more fratas baton. No more working in the mill. This is freedom. This is what it takes. Next, I will gain equality. Isn't that what you've always dreamed of?
Yes. But how long will it last? George Biazou has joined forces with the John François Papillon and Junot. They have been gathering an army of rebels. That army has grown too. And they will move to take this colony very soon. They're still looking for recruits.
Suzanne, no. Not now.
When? We have children to consider, Toussaint. This has been coming for a long time. We cannot hide in cowardice when war finally comes.
Toussaint sits in a rocking chair pensively. The mood shifts. A rattle.
I have other plans to attend to. Joining the rebel army may tarnish my reputation and get in the way of future employment opportunities.
Yes, your opportunities as a proper French gentleman.
Stop it.
You and I both know that this is not the life my father was preparing us for, nor is what Cecile prophesied.
Sisu.
Toussaint and Isaac enter running into the room carrying a small sack of seeds. The mood is shifted to accommodate the children.
Mama! Mama, look!
What's this?
We found some seeds.
Suzanne inspects the sack.
Isn't that lucky? Maybe we can start a garden. What do you think? Perhaps if we lay down some roots, we'll never forget where we've come from.
Toussaint takes the bag from Suzanne and remembers Aida's message. Aida's sobs are heard. Toussaint and Isaac do not hear it.
What was that?
You heard it?
It must have been the wind.
Are you sure,
A
Suzanne?
knock at the door startles both Toussaint and Suzanne. They all stare at the door for a moment. Suzanne finds her resolve first and goes to open the door. Gideon, a homely gentleman, stands in the doorway, wringing a crumpled old hat between his hands.
Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour. Can I help you?
The moment becomes tense and awkward.
What's so funny?
Pardon. Please excuse me. It's just, I'm the one usually taking orders around here. It was just funny to hear you offer. I am Gideon. I come with the property. I tend the grounds. Is the master of the home indisposed at the moment?
Master?
That would be me.
You?
You,
Yes, I did sign to the deed to this property, so that makes me the
master.
owner.
I see.
I'm beginning to
Yes. What is it that you need?
Toussaint.
What can I do for you?
I suppose I should be asking you that question. I just came to introduce myself. Like I mentioned, I am Gideon, and I will be at your service.
Service? What is he talking about, Toussaint?
My cabin is located east of the stable. If you should need anything, I'll be there. Oh, before I go, this letter arrived for you.
Toussaint snatches the letter from Gideon before Suzanne could get to it and buries it in his pocket.
Bonne nuit.
He exits. Before the door closes behind Gideon, light shift.
Boys, go play.
Placide and Isaac exit.
What was that?
Suzanne.
Is that what I think?
This is the way, Suzanne. He is a part of the property.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Think of him as a groundskeeper. I've already signed the lease. I am now responsible for his life. How will I look if I send him away?
Like a man with integrity.
I am that man. But to them, I will look like a sympathizer, which will implicate this family. This is the way of the world.
This is too much.
Suzanne, I will hear no more of your protest tonight. This is what it is, and it will be.
Suzanne is obviously taken aback by his words, but she's got tough skin. The sting only lasts a moment.
I will build a kingdom for you.
Toussaint goes to the desk, taking the bag of seeds with him. He removes the letter and a gun from his pocket. He regards the letter fondly. He places all three items in the drawer. Suzanne takes notice of this.
What's that?
What does it look like?
Where did you get it?
I bought it from a man. Stop asking questions.
A gun, Toussaint? We have two small boys.
So you'll understand why I want to protect him.
Yes, but
I also procured a safe place we can go across the border to Saint Domingue. I have secured it in case there was any reason for us to flee to safety. You never know when you might need it. Hopefully the time never comes, but if it does, you'll be glad we have it.
Suzanne is uneasy, but understands.
Trust me.
Suzanne averts her attention and begins singing.
What's that?
just a song I heard. It's so strange. I can't remember when or where I heard it. But I can't get it out of my head. Long ago, an old woman came to me and told me I would be your strength and legacy. I have fulfilled my role. I have supported you through all bore your children, so forgive me for the harsh words I must strike you with. But I refuse to stand idly by as you cower away in the lap of luxury. You need to be the man we've invested our lives into, or else it will all be a waste, all the sacrifices, all the pain, the loss. You need to stand up. Here is what I would do.
What would you do, Suzanne? You can't possibly begin to imagine what it means to be a man with responsibility. A black man with responsibility. Any mistake, one misstep could cost me my life. Or worse, the life of another. The boys, you, or someone else who, though they are not as close to my heart as you, would cause me unrelenting guilt if they died under my care. To have the weight of the world dropped on your shoulders with no instruction on how to bear it.
You have received all the instruction you need.
To be controlled in every aspect of my life.
You are a free man, Toussaint. A free man. Suddenly it seems this glaring fact means nothing to you. But it is everything.
Am I free?
Yes.
Suzanne. Am I? If you ask me, my life has never been my own. This task of being the so-called chosen one, it's just more chains being hooked into my back. Just another master to obey. So no, I am not free.
Wake up, Toussaint. Open your eyes and wake up. You are free. Gideon is not. There is a difference. Don't you see the chains hooked into your back are meant to keep you from being dragged by the chains hooked into your mind?
What are you talking about?
All this education, and you still can't think for yourself. This life, this home, your religion, your language, your fears are all hooks ripping through your mind. Put there by the people who seek to control you, Toussaint. It's not just the island the French have colonized. They have colonized our minds too, to make us think the way they want us to think, move the way they want us to move. The chains in your back are meant to remind you of your greatness, of what you could become, of what we could become. Sometimes I wish the torch had come to me. Though it never did, a fire was lit inside me the night Michael died, and I've carried it with me through the years. I often find myself wondering what I'd have done if I had it, where I would be, the things I'd do. I would join Biazou's army. I would lure the bastards into my web like a spider. They'd never see me coming to slit their throats. I would lead our people to a salvation so glorious, so inspiring, it would open the way for others to fight for their salvation as well. Toussaint.
Suzanne reaches inside her purse and pulls out the charred piece of book she rescued from the fire and presents it to Toussaint.
I want to remind you of your greatness. Our lives have been blessed somewhat, certainly more than most. But you are still a black man, and everything can be taken from us.
What's this?
Years ago, you were feeling the pressures of being greater than you could ever imagine. You were so troubled by it. You were having nightmares. You were so frustrated that you tried to burn the tools that were to guide you on your path. I found this in the fireplace that night the Ragout plantation burned. Little did you know that by burning this book, you saved some lives, kept them out of harm's reach for a little while, not knowing it was the very thing the planters sought and found in the Ragout plantation. The night that old woman who saw something special in you died in a blaze, she would say it was the flame being passed on to another torch. Smell it.
Toussaint does.
That is the smell of a revolution. And this is your torch.
Suzanne exits, leaving Toussaint with his thoughts as hums Aida's song. Aida appears sobbing and cradling a bloody bundle of hope and fear. Her sobs grow until they become a shrieking wail. Blackout. Scene 3. Suzanne, Placide, and Isaac are on the front porch. The porch wraps around the house in unfinished wood with 2 wooden rocking chairs near the doorway. Suzanne is seated in one of them. There is a raised garden bed in front of the porch.
Boys, come.
Oui, Mama?
I have a surprise for you. It's in the desk drawer. Go get it.
Placide runs inside.
A surprise?
Yes. Remember those seeds you found in the house?
Placide returns with a bag of seeds with Toussaint's letter and a gun. He is running around with the gun pointed.
Bang, bang, bang.
Placide's words ricochet and hang in the air like a heavy fog. The letter falls to the ground as Placide comes onto the porch. Suzanne is mortified.
Stop that right now. Bring that to me.
Placide takes the gun to Suzanne and places it in her hand.
Where did you get this?
In the desk drawer?
Yes, of course you did. Listen to me. This is not to be played with. You hear me? This is a matter of life and death. Do not reach for this unless you are prepared to bring death to another, to protect your life. Do you understand me?
Oui, Mama.
Yes.
Well, I have found the perfect place to start our very own vegetable garden.
How do you know they're vegetable seeds?
I suppose I don't really know. Here's what I do know. I am a mother, and you were once a tiny little seed in my belly, and I've nurtured you, and I've watched you blossom. I know that no matter what, as long as we nurture these seeds, whatever these seeds turn out to be, we will watch them blossom as well.
Where will we plant the garden, Mama?
Right here, Sylvie, in this old garden bed. I'm going to show you how, just like my father taught me.
Suzanne hands Placide a gardening tool, then turns to return the gun to the desk. She notices the letter on the ground. Suzanne picks up the letter. Placide begins digging into the earth. Suzanne sits on the steps and opens the letter. She masks her agitation by the content of it. She takes the letter and the gun back inside and puts them in the desk and returns. A rattle.
All right. I think that hole is deep enough.
Suzanne empties the bag of seeds into the hands of Placide, Isaac, and her own.
Now you will bury the seeds in the ground like this.
Suzanne demonstrates how.
And after that, we will water them. And from the earth will spring life.
Georges Biassou appears, loud and boisterous and smelling of alcohol. He startles them.
Bonjour, madame!
Suzanne shields her children from Biassou's sight.
Bonjour. What?
Is this the residence of the François Dominique Toussaint?
Who wants to know?
Oh, pardon. I am Georges Biassou. I imagine you've heard my name before.
Suzanne sends the boys inside.
Go find your father. Tell him to come out front. He has a guest. Your reputation precedes you, Monsieur Biassou. So it behooves me to ask, what do you want with my husband?
With all due respect, madame, the matter which brings me here today can only be discussed between men.
Monsieur Biassou, though I am sure you have been made aware, allow me to remind you, only women can birth men. We've created the illusion that you run things. Yes, men are in charge, but men cling to the wombs of women for a lifetime, and have done so since the dawn of man. Their ties are to us. Their follies are for us. Don't you understand? Any information that must be passed on to the man of the house must first pass through this woman.
You have a fire in you. You should join my army. I can create a position for you.
Toussaint enters hastily.
General Biassou, you're fighting for the Spanish now.
The men shake hands.
I fight for the rebellion, you know that.
Your uniform says otherwise.
Oh, this thing? This is all a part of a grander scheme. My allegiance is clear. I came to ask where yours is aligned.
Do you question it?
It just strikes me as odd to find the famed François Dominique Toussaint Louverture, the groomed and educated and highly favored Toussaint Louverture, who has been named the chosen one to deliver us from these devils. I don't know. It just strikes me as odd to find him cowering in the luxuries of oppression rather than fighting on the front lines for the cause he's dedicated his life to.
If this is your recruitment pitch, I must say I am not sold.
I'm not interested in the buying and selling of my brother, Toussaint. I'm interested in ending it.
I am well acquainted with your strategies, Biassou.
Oh, are you?
Yes, you use your rebel army to bulldoze those whose views don't align with yours.
And what about you, Toussaint? I must say, it came to me as a surprise when I learned that your address would lead to this plantation. How many slaves came with this estate? Huh? 12? 13? Do their views align with yours?
Why are you here, Biassou?
Let me be clear. If you do not stand with the rebel army, then you oppose the revolution.
You use your rebel army to create chaos and confusion, fighting with knives and stones, hiding in the mountains like savages, in need of control. You use your rebel army to create chaos and confusion.
I seek to finally bring clarity to our people, to show them who is truly on their side. You think you're better than me. Perhaps a man like you can keep them in line, control them, as you so cavalierly suggest. That seems to be your line of work these days.
What are you getting at?
It's time, Toussaint.
For what?
To finally put that fine grooming to use. You've made yourself a nice life. It seems like you've gotten comfortable. That's done. Now it's time for the work.
No, not like this. It is certainly not with the likes of you.
What other way is there, Toussaint? This is what you've been working toward, isn't it? Listen, I am in need of someone like you to command a small detachment of troops here in the north. It's time for you to step into your destiny. It's time to give your people a return on their investment. It's time to show your people where your allegiances are.
My allegiance is to my family.
Lights shift. Congo Savan's Vev appears. Congo enters. He is very well dressed and handsome. There is blood smeared on his face and on the cuffs of his sleeves. He approaches Toussaint. It started. Can you smell it? The air is thick with it, and it's only getting thicker. Toussaint tries to maneuver around Congo, but Congo counters him in a way that allows him to get his hands menacingly around Toussaint's exposed neck. Why not let the rebels carry out their agenda? It could be good for your people.
Their blind rage will have my people killed.
Perhaps that energy can be honed.
What do you mean?
I understand the rebel. The rebel is hungry and he is tired of being stepped on by the powers that be. The rebel wants a life that he controls, and he will do anything for it. Believe it or not, you have that same spirit.
No.
Don't be so quick to say what you will or won't do. Judge lest thee be judged. Rebels believe in their cause. What do you believe in?
I believe that
It's time to choose what you believe in, boy. Your decision is like a loaded gun and is liable to cause more trouble than it prevents. War is at your doorstep, boy.
I have made my choice. This war has nothing to do with me.
How foolish. Whether or not this war has anything to do with you is unimportant. You will die one way or another. At least the rebels will be dying for something. But beware. The more time that passes, rebels will become very hungry, insatiable. So much so that they will eat their own to satisfy that hunger, sinking their teeth into the sweet flesh of those they used to fight for. But the sooner they are fed, the sooner they reach their goals. The sooner they reach their goals, the sooner you can detach yourself from this filthy life.
And what if they turned against me?
As tasty and as delicious as you look, you would only be an amuse-bouche to the full-course meal the rebel desires. You are not the target, but I wouldn't stand in their way, wouldn't want to get bitten. Congo exits. Lights shift. Biassou is unfrozen. Toussaint sits from fatigue.
Then report to the Moulin Rouge on the evening of the 14th of August.
You misunderstand me. My allegiance goes solely to my family. Leave me alone.
A stone with a message attached is thrown through the window. Suzanne hurries inside and retrieves it. She unfolds the message and Toussaint reads it aloud over her shoulder.
It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting. That's...
Impetus. The stroke philosopher.
Is this a threat? Did you get one of your dogs to do this?
As you can see, I prefer to deliver my messages in person.
I told you my allegiance is to my family and I will not have put them in danger. If I find out that you had anything to do...
If you think that their safety hasn't already been jeopardized, then you are and have been a fool. So, I expect to see you in a few weeks. Yeah. For your family.
You dare threaten my family?
Toussaint, the threat is out there. A true threat is out there, and it's coming for us, all of us, including your precious family. They've been burning slave quarters looking for missing books. It seems the French have caught wind of the making of revolutionaries. Judging by the way you deciphered that message, they're coming for you next. I commend you for wanting to protect them. It's a man's duty. A great man, however, realizes the extent of his family goes far beyond the one he created. And therefore, a great man's duty is to protect them all. Which are you? A man or a great man? The choice is yours. Madame.
Biassou exits. Suzanne speaks first.
I knew this moment was coming, Toussaint. They know who you truly are. They're coming, it's time.
No, it's not.
What? What do you mean this is it?
No, Suzanne, this is not it. That man is a drunkard. What kind of general, rebel army or otherwise goes on a recruitment mission drunk? He thinks he's clever with this stone, and he's got you fooled but not me. No, this cannot be it. Why would I have learned all of that? The French military strategies, French manners, French everything. Just to join forces with and risk my life for the drunk general of a rebel army. No!
Why not?
Suzanne storms inside, opens the desk drawer, slams it shut, and emerges with the letter in her hand. She holds it in his face.
I just told you.
Because of this,
Where did you get that?
it wasn't very hard to find. In fact, it was so easy that a child could find it, along with a gun. When were you going to tell me about this?
Did you read it?
Yes.
Susanna.
You've enlisted in the French military?
Susanna.
Have you lost your mind? What were you thinking? If my father...
Suzanne! I have my reasons for joining the French forces. According to the Code Noir, as a freedman, I am to be considered equal to the whites. But I find myself still being subject to discrimination, even though I have purchased land. No matter the amount of wealth attached to my name, noses still turn up at the color of my skin. But I am more than disdain. The French are at the brink of war with Britain. The Crown wishes to supplement its regular regiments with local recruits. Don't you see? This will secure my status as a French patriot. No longer second class, a proper French gentleman.
And then what? You will go off to war for France? The people who enslave our people? Listen to yourself. There is no logic in this. What do you expect? You go fight, and if you don't die in a war where both sides seek to see you in chains, what do you think you will return home to? Open your eyes, Toussaint. There will be no heroes welcome. Only more of this suffering. I understand that you may be afraid, but do not allow fear to blind you. This is what my father risked his life preparing you for. It is not a coincidence that I found that letter. It's not a coincidence that Biazou showed up here today. This is your mission.
It's not fear that keeps me from joining the rebels. It's logic. They are reckless. They act on a whim. They throw caution to the wind. There is no order. I must attach myself to a force to become a force. That is what your father risked his life preparing me for.
No. He and so many of us have risked our lives to build an army of rebels who would command when the time came. The time is now. Lead them. Lead us into a different life. This is your time.
Lights shift. Ogu's Vev appears. The sound of a steel hammer falling on an anvil rings loudly and startles Toussaint. Suzanne is frozen. Ogu suddenly appears, smithing a machete and grunts with every fall of his hammer.
She's talking about war.
No, not again. Why? Why can't I wake from this dream? Why do you continue to haunt me?
Ogu lifts his blade and examines it.
It's good advice, really.
Who asked you? Why are you all haunting me like this? Is there somewhere I can go to find peace?
Ogu swiftly makes his way to Toussaint, cornering him with his machete to his throat.
Peace? Peace? How can there be peace when you are on the precipice of war?
Ogu releases Toussaint and lowers his blade, but remains dangerously close in proximity.
But you're going to lead them out of it.
Out of war?
Do not be afraid. I will guide you against your enemies.
Guide me against my enemies. Who are you?
Ogu does a sort of tribal dance.
I am iron, I am covered with iron. The body of Ogu Foray is covered with knives. The body of Ogu Foray is covered with machetes.
Why are you here, Ogu Foray?
I have come to bring you a prophecy.
This again. What is it now?
You will bring a great change to this world.
That's it? What kind of prophecy is that? Tell me, how am I going to bring such a great change to the world?
Listen to her. She gives good advice. She's talking about war. You must face this war head on to bring great change to this world. There is nowhere to run or hide. You must take what is yours, finally.
Why? Why me? Why not you? You have your power and your weapons. Why don't you do it?
Why would a blacksmith put his hands in the fire if he has tongs? This is your destiny.
I can't go to war. I can't go to war against the French.
There will be a time when you, as a man, must look fear in the face and hold your ground. There are people counting on you, more than you know, more than you can ever imagine. Beyond this island, beyond this world, don't be afraid of what you can become. Your fear could be the death of you.
As he approaches, he is singing his song.
You are iron, you are covered with iron. The body of Toussaint is covered with knives. The body of Toussaint is covered with machetes.
Ogu slaps Toussaint's back playfully but with too much force.
Time has finally come, eh, friend? How do you feel?
Sick.
Now, there's no time for that. A warrior must be healthy. A warrior must be strong, unless it's fear that's making you ill. War can be scary, but
Why do you continue to haunt me?
because you're not getting it. The longer you drag your feet, the worse it'll get. All you have to do is follow our lead.
What?
Ogu touches the hilt of his machete to Toussaint's forehead. Ogu exits. Just as Toussaint turns to go back to Suzanne, blackout. Gideon is inside his cabin. A knock at the door. Gideon goes and opens the door. Toussaint is standing humbly in the doorway. He does not enter.
How can I help you? Come in, come in.
Toussaint enters. A rattle. The lights flicker. A faint drumming is heard. It matches Toussaint's beating heart. He suddenly feels warm.
Someone came onto the property today, unannounced.
Madam and the children safe, sir?
Yes, they are fine. Perhaps a bit shaken, but fine.
I'm glad to hear it, sir. Any inclination of who it could have been?
A certain General Bias.
Ah,
Why wasn't the gate bolted?
I'm certain it was, sir.
Then how did he get in? He had some of his men throw a stone to my window. I cannot have people coming on and off my property. I have a family to protect.
I will ensure that the gate is double bolted.
Thank you.
The lights flicker. Drums crescendo. The sound of teeth crunching down on flesh fills the air. Congo Savant's Bev appears. He is seen in his usual state, with blood smeared around his mouth, standing in the corner, heart in hand, and laughing maniacally. Toussaint is fucking terrified. He looks like he's seen a ghost.
Toussaint,
Yes.
are you alright?
Yes, I just thought I saw something.
Lights flicker again. Spotlight on Congo. Congo Savant growls. Taste it. The lights flicker back. Spotlight on Toussaint and Gideon.
What?
I said, are you alright? Here, sit.
No, I'll stand. Fine. I don't want to put you out.
Nonsense, sit.
Gideon serves him a water in a rusty tin cup. Taste it. Lights flicker back. Spotlight on Toussaint and Gideon. Toussaint drops the water.
No.
Sir.
No. I'm sorry. Being here is eerie, haunting.
I can imagine. Do you know me?
What do you mean?
That doesn't surprise me. You haven't been at Henry very long. My father worked the sugar mill at Dubla, at Courtier Marine, just east of Cap. That's where I was born. You know, when I was a boy, he had this saying, my father, if you want to understand how intimately tied our people are to this land, look for a magical fish named Lovana. I had to see her. So, I went to the river for an hour at sunset every day for weeks. But I was never lucky enough to catch a glimpse of her. I quickly dismissed my father's words as jest. I never thought of the magical fish again. Years went by. Not one single thought of her. Until one day, While scrubbing the floors of my domicile, the world suddenly stood still and she appeared to me. She appeared to me out of the murky water of my basin.
What did she say to you?
She told me to leave Dubois. She told me time would stand still if I remained. I can tell you're a good man, but I must say the man I heard about is not the man I see before me.
What do you see?
What I see is a good man. What I imagined was something bigger.
Bigger. How?
Bigger. His reach was much bigger. His mind was bigger. His heart was bigger.
His heart?
Yeah. Yes. His heart was much bigger, and so his reach was bigger. His reach went further. You are haunted.
Yes.
Once your journey begins, you will see. Once you step into your destiny, you will find peace again.
Lights flicker. Spotlight on Congo. How does it taste, Toussaint? How does it taste, Toussaint? How does it taste, Toussaint?
What? How does what taste?
The flesh of your own. Lights flicker. Spotlight on Toussaint and Gideon.
Yes. Thank you. I should get going.
Yes. Yes, you have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Toussaint exits. The lights flicker back and forth between Congo and Gideon. Blackout. Scene 5. The front porch. Toussaint enters dragging his feet. He is exhausted and collapses into the garden bed. He lays there for a moment and breathes in the earth. The tormented beating of a heart begins drumming in the distance.
What do you want from me? 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 Tell me! What do you want from me?
Toussaint repeats this until it grows into a frenzy. He begins digging crazily into the garden bed with his hands. On his last dig, he pulls out a snake, which startles him before he tosses it. A rattle. Aida's song fades in. Toussaint digs his hands into the earth. When he pulls them out, they are bloody. Aida enters the 3 veiled figures that resemble Toussaint's family. Suzanne, Facile, and Isaac, trailing behind her like ghosts, almost gliding. Toussaint sees them, but is powerless to do anything about it. Confusion. Toussaint begins smearing the earth blood all over his face and body, still frenzied. Aida leads the family to the garden bed and gathers them around Toussaint. He is still powerless. Toussaint steps into the hole he dug and begins burying his feet into the earth. Aida does the same with the family, burying their feet in the ground, one by one. She smears a streak of earth blood across each of their faces. Toussaint and the veiled figures stand planted in the garden bed. A family portrait. Aida's laughter continues into the blackout. Scene 6. Toussaint's living room. The fire is ablaze and is warm from the glow of candlelight. The house smells of dinner. Cooking noises can be heard. Light shift. The French official enters and locks the door behind him. He stops center stage and strikes a pose with his hands on his hips and his chest puffed up high. He takes in the room, then begins pacing. Pacing transforms into havoc as the French official begins tearing the room apart, breaking things, tearing things off the walls. Total destruction.
Toussaint?
The French official is frozen by the sound of Suzanne's voice. Her presence piques his interest. He tiptoes into the corner of the room and hides. Suzanne enters.
Hello? Placide. Isaac. Venez ici?
Placide and Isaac enter.
Oui. Vince.
Suzanne shields the boys behind her. Shh. The room is silent for a while, until the French official jumps out of his hiding place, terrifying Suzanne, Placide, and Isaac. They scream desperately and huddle as the French official continues to destroy the room.
Où est Toussaint Louverture? Où est Toussaint Louverture?
Gideon is heard indistinctly off stage coming to their aid. He tries to open the door, but it is locked. He tries ramming it several times before it gives way and he tumbles in. He spots the French official and thinks quickly. Gideon rushes to the fireplace and picks up a poker. He takes a few swings at the French official but is outmaneuvered. The French official takes a few steps back and trains his gun onto Suzanne and the boys. Gideon springs into action, blocking them from harm. Toussaint enters. He takes in the scene. He spots his family.
Suzanne!
A shot is fired. Gideon is slain and lays in a pool of his own blood at Suzanne's feet. While the French official's attention is turned, Placide wiggles away from his mother's clutch and sneaks off towards the desk.
Toussaint Louverture?
Oui.
Salutations de la France.
Placide returns to his family with a gun and hands it to his mother. But it's too late. Another shot is fired. Toussaint Louverture is killed.
Toussaint!
The French official restrains his weapon onto Suzanne and the boys. Suzanne shoots him dead before he has time to think. She runs over to Toussaint's corpse.
Toussaint! Toussaint, look at me!
She pulls Toussaint into her arms.
Look at me!
Toussaint lays limply in Suzanne's arms as she weeps. The boys huddle around their mother and father, with Gideon's blood poured around their feet. A family portrait. Blackout. Scene 7, the living room. The debris from the French official's tirade is pushed to the edges of the room, leaving the center clear for Suzanne and the boys. The bodies have been cleared from the room, but pools of blood still remain, staining the ground. Suzanne and the boys are huddled on the ground. Placide and Isaac are asleep. Suzanne is on high alert. She watches her boys sleep. The silence is comforting. Nothing else is. A knock at the door. Suzanne jumps. She takes the gun and goes to answer, but by the time she arrives, the messenger has fled, leaving behind a package with a letter attached to it. She picks up the package. A rattle. Aida's voice fills the air. Placide and Isaac are all frozen.
Hello? Who's there?
Suzanne sees Aida and immediately realizes she's heard of this woman before.
The woman with the bloody baby. It was true. Toussaint was telling the truth.
Two seeds were dropped together on the side of a hill facing south. One seed turned to the other seed and said, "I would like to break out of the soil so I can look at the sun and breathe the fresh air." The other seed said, "I do not want to go out. I like being in the earth. It is dark here like the night, and I feel like a baby lying in his mother's arms. Regardless of the time of day, I can always sleep like a child." The seed that wanted to come out of the soil finally burst through the surface. She grew and developed little green leaves. Not long afterwards, she became a small pear tree. But she did not forget her friends who had still been planted next to her. One day, she said to the other seed, "Hurry, come out of the soil. After you come out, we can both grow to be tall trees."
This isn't a dream, is it?
Meanwhile, her voice was becoming softer and softer, until she could not be heard anymore. The pear tree continued to grow. Every year she bore a lot of fruit to the people. A little seed that did not want to come out of the soil eventually died. You must save my seeds. Only you can understand.
Understand what?
Aida puts one deliberate finger onto Suzanne's belly.
You must save my seeds.
How?
When a king's palace burns down, the rebuilt palace is more beautiful.
Aida kisses Suzanne's lips and exits, humming her song. Lights shift. The boys are unfrozen. Suzanne fixes her eyes on the package. She peruses the letter briefly. She opens the package, tearing at the brown paper wrapping. She pulls out a beautifully hand-stitched navy blue military coat. with red satin lapels, gold buttons, and gold piping with tassels on the shoulders. A rebel military uniform sent by Biassou, along with an invitation to Montrouge. Suzanne takes it in for a moment, touching the details. She puts the coat on. The weight of it surprises her, but she can bear it. Suzanne removes the coat, folds it neatly, and places it on the desk. She rallies her sons.
Lassie, Isaac, come.
They walk bashfully toward their mother.
Come. It's fine. Everything is going to be just fine.
Where is Papa?
Papa has been called away for work. And you've been called away too. It's a bit of a surprise. I will be arranging for you two to go on a trip somewhere safe. To Saint Domingue.
Will you be coming with us, Papa?
No, Sherry.
Why not?
I have to take care of some very important work here. But I will miss you both very much.
Oh,
Don't worry, my boy. I will look after you, even from afar, I promise. And when you come back, I'll have a brand new life, a different one. Come, sit.
Suzanne holds the boys closely, like it's the last time she'll be able to smell them.
Have you ever heard about the story about the two seeds on the hill? I've only just heard it myself, but I believe the moral is that you must bravely endure the things that are prepared for you, not trying to hide from what lies ahead. You cannot escape that which must be.
Placide and Isaac drift off. Suzanne braces herself for battle. Blackout. Act 3, Scene 1. Scene 3. Apologies. Bois Cayman, a ritualistic event. There is drum music and a large bonfire in the center of the stage. Beside it is a large ornament rug with lavish-looking armchairs where Georges Biassou, Henri Christophe, and Jean-Jacques Dessalines are situated and drinking wine over lively conversation. Dessalines and Christophe look like guards dressed in Spanish royalist uniforms. On the ground around the bonfire are vebs outlined in chalk. Dambala, Aida, Ogu, and Congo Savan are all standing on their respective vebs performing war rituals. Suzanne, dressed in the rebel uniform, sees them and is obviously affected by their presence. She steels herself and gives herself a pep talk into going over to Biassou. She masks her voice. A rattle.
Bonjour, Niazius.
François Dominique Toussaint. So nice of you to join us. Welcome. I see you have received my gift.
Yes, thank you.
You wear it well. Let me introduce you to my friends and trusted generals Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henri Christophe.
Dessalines and Christophe shake Suzanne's hand firmly, showing their strength, alpha male intimidation tactics. Suzanne holds her own.
Bonjour.
Dessalines and Christophe here are my brothers in arms in the Spanish forces. Oh, you just missed Papillon. You would have been pleased to see you here tonight.
It would have been my pleasure.
So, what's brought you here? Surely it's not the festivity.
No. Your letter said tonight will be the official meeting of the revolt. I want to enlist in the rebel army.
Finally tired of being Bayonne's little pet, huh? Ready to do your part, huh?
Biassou, Dessalines, and Christophe all laugh at Suzanne's expense.
What was that? What was that nickname you go by? Trapaton? Walking stick? Do you think you have what it takes?
How's your French?
It's fine.
Laissons mes jouer. Je don't pose parmi clair parmi. Car toutes les mains d'un piot vite, pure peving ceinture. Toute la main du viode, si cuve symbiaséture, pure se vite cross fil satis.
Biassou, Dessalines, and Christophe are obviously impressed.
Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few really know what you are.
Niccolo Machiavelli, the prince.
During the time I spent being Bayonne's so-called pet, I was able to read the great philosophers, on all subjects relating to politics. French mannerisms I learned to write, and yes, I got close to Bayon.
Lights on Dambala, who is holding a bag of snakes. He empties the bag on the ground, encircling his feet. A rattle.
How close?
Close enough to observe his ways.
Oh.
Close enough to watch the way he conducts himself with the Grande Blancs. And close enough to have him hire me as a paid employee. Nobody knows him like I do. I spent my whole life studying them. I know how they walk. I know how they talk. I know how they think. And I've enlisted in the French military, but we can use that to our advantage.
That's all right, that's all right. We've all enlisted with the Spanish, but as I mentioned to you at your estate, it's all a part of a grander scheme. We are all here for a common goal. We use that kind of intelligence, especially when it comes to dealing with local planters.
But can you fight? Dessalines challenges Suzanne by puffing his chest out.
As well as any other man here, or better.
Suzanne does not back down and puffs her chest out as well. I'll be the judge of that. The two walk toward one another as if they're about to duel. Dessalines appreciates the fact that Suzanne holds her ground. Suzanne and Dessalines come face to face, puffed out chest to puffed out chest. Dessalines swiftly unholsters his machete and brings it to Suzanne's throat. Suzanne does not flinch an inch. A rattle. Dessalines is impressed. He's brave.
Well then, I suppose there is just one order of business left for you to fully enlist.
Biasu stands from his throne and walks to a nearby table where he picks up a stone bowl filled with blood from the sacrificial animal.
Drink the blood.
No.
But you must.
Why?
If you want to join the rebel army, I need to know that you are committed. Everyone here has had some.
Dessalines and Christophe nod in agreement.
Think of it as sort of an initiation. You will want the strength of Olu coursing through your body. Trust me. Do it. As an oath to kill all the blanks on this island.
Suzanne takes the bowl hesitantly and looks at it a while before shakily bringing it to her lips. Biasu waits until the very last moment to stop her by taking the bowl away from her face.
You don't have to drink that. Now.
Biasu, Dessalines, and Christophe break out into laughter, and one of them even slaps Suzanne heavily handed on the back. Suzanne laughs awkwardly with them.
I thought you were being serious. You probably haven't even had any yourself.
Lights on Congo Savan, who is holding a heart in his hand. Dessalines takes a bowl of sacrificial blood. Dessalines and Congo Savan bring the blood and heart respectively to their mouths. Dessalines drinks the blood slowly, and Congo bites the heart, smearing the blood all over his face. A rattle. Suzanne takes this as a challenge. She takes the bowl from Dessalines and drinks the blood, then slams it down on the table. Welcome to the revolution.
Indeed. Welcome, my brother. So, as you know, Toussaint, time is of the essence, so we will skip the formalities and get right to it.
Let's.
Duty Bookman is the most fearsome of the Maroons. He has prophesied that Papillon, Jeanot, and myself will be the leaders of the resistance. That is why we have been building our army. I've brought Dessalines and Christophe on, and now we will have you. And with your gifts, we will be an excellent addition to our ranks. I will be positioning you with Christophe and Dessalines. Right now, we have 200 leaders involved in the north who hold privileged positions on their plantations, not unlike you. Those leaders will go home tonight, and upon a signal, they will set their plantations aflame. They will enter the homes of their masters and cut the heads off with machetes, or smash their heads in with stones. You will do the same. By midnight, Bookman and his forces will march throughout the north, and this island will be burning. Can you handle the cutting of the throat of your beloved Bayon?
We will strike at midnight.
Excellent.
Biasu raises his glass. Lights on Aida, whose hands are drenched in blood. She smears the blood on the ground. She takes a position of praise. A rattle.
Gentlemen, this is the moment. Tonight we take our lives back. Tonight we free ourselves. Tonight we free our children. This island will be ours, or burn and be swallowed by the sea.
Cheers.
Fight well tonight, my friends. And if you survive the night, you will see a different Saint Domingue in the morning. Go home, kiss your children, make love to your wives, and prepare for battle. Bonne nuit, messieurs. Good luck.
I'll be seeing you in the morning. Maybe.
Right.
Biassou, Christophe, and Dessalines exit separately in different directions. Suzanne is left by the fire. The Loas are still on stage. A rattle. The drums beat at deafening decibels. Over the sound of drums is Suzanne's heartbeat. Lights shift as Suzanne retrieves a dagger from Biassou's table, showing only her silhouette. Suzanne lifts her hand in the air, cuts her palm with the dagger, and squeezes the blood into the fire. Lights on Ogu, who is carrying both a machete and a hammer. There is an anvil in front of him, which he uses to smith a blade. He strikes. Every strike of the hammer brings lightning and clamorous thunder. The sounds of the insurrection fill the air with turmoil, anger, desperation, fear, and white tears. It sounds like vengeance and death. The presence of the Loas charge Suzanne. Blackout. Scene 4. It is the morning after. Suzanne enters the ruins of her estate. She kicks around debris from the fire. A letter to Toussaint is delivered from the sky. Drums play softly in a steady and simple rhythm. They act as a crowd that Suzanne is addressing by way of call and response.
6 unknown large ships of the line are sailing toward Port Republican.
The drums pick up in a way a concerned mob of people would.
The Azul is dead.
The drums grow louder.
I've been named General-in-Chief.
The drums grow even louder.
No, my friends, do not fear.
The drums become desperate.
No, please, now is not the time to panic.
The drums become more and more chaotic.
Listen to me.
Ogu's Vev appears under Suzanne's feet. She plants herself and finds her posture. She addresses the mob.
Brothers and friends, I am Louverture. Perhaps my name has made itself known to you. I have undertaken vengeance. I want liberty and equality to reign in Saint Domingue. I am working to make that happen. Unite yourselves with us, brothers, and fight with us for the same cause.
The drums become a loud applause. Shouts a question.
What about Christophe? Order him to intercept the ships by any means necessary. We are just in our cause. If the French want a fight, well then we will give them one to remember.
The drums become wildly celebratory.
It is a traditional Haitian soup that we serve on Haitian Independence Day, which is January 1st, 1804. Please help yourselves enjoy and take part of the culture.